Thank you for joining me. I'm at home in the dining room. I've got my scarf on because it's a bit cold in here, and we've not bothered to eat it up because we're only in here when we have a bite to eat. More often than not, we eat in the kitchen, so there's no point in doing that. I've not got hot water bottles stuffed under my cardigan, but I have got it sewn into my underpants, so that keeps me very warm. Hope you're okay. Hope you're warm. The house these days, it's so cold, if you open a door, the light goes on. So I'm going to do some poems from this. This is me Facebook book launch. I've done a couple of book launches at the local library, which was great, at the Hastings Library, but this is my first one outside Hastings, I suppose, unless you're inside Hastings and on Facebook, you could be. It's a beautiful thing about it. I do love Facebook, and I love the interaction, which is great. So in Hastings, we had a flood, and there was a eel floated up the main road of Hastings and into the shopping centre. So when I put out the advert for my gig, I said, everybody welcome apart from eels. And somebody took exception to that, which made me laugh. And they said, you might not love eels, but eels love you. That's amore. So the first poem is called When a Lover's Seat, Where a Lover's Seat Has Fallen into the Sea. Where a lover's seat has fallen into the sea. I've got my teeth in wrong. Where a lover's seat has fallen. Because along the coast, there's some fantastic bits along the coast. There's a bit very near to us on the Fire Hills, because the Fire Hills is the name of the bit of coast that I'm on. So I'm between Hastings and Rye. And just after you go east from Hastings, you come to the Fire Hills. And there used to be a lover's seat. Now, I've got a picture of it, so I'm going to see if I can technically do this for you. I'm going to show you it. Let's have a look. Share, I need. If I can do it right. Share screen. There we go. How's that come up? Are we okay, Paul? Yep, that's come up. Yeah, good. So that's the lover's seat. As you can see, people dressed. This is in Victorian times. People aren't dressed up in Victorian times now in Hastings and Fairport. More 1950s, to be honest with you, than Victorian times. But this is the lover's seat. Unfortunately, what's happened is it's sandstone, which is great for fossils, but not so good for building a house on top of the cliff, because it wears it away. And we've lost several houses to the elements. And this lovely bit here has gone as well. Now, this is a local fable or local legend that these two were in love, but she was posh, a bit like Ange, and she's from Peterborough. And he was a bit of a low life, a bit like me, and their parents wouldn't have it, so they met on this bench and then went to Gretna Green and got married, and hopefully lived happily ever after. So this was a famous landmark for years and years and years, but it got swept into the sea. But where it is it sort of overlooks the nudist beach. Now, I'm not sure if it overlooked the nudist beach at that point, and that's what, got them going. But you'll notice there's a protrusion on it as well, which is slightly phallic. So that's odd. So this is a poem looking out to sea. I'll show you what it looks like now. Let's have a little look, see if we can do the share screen. How about that? Have I managed to do that? So I think there's a little bit of delay on it. I think you've got it now. Yeah, good. So that's what it looks like. It's actually rather nice, isn't it? There's actually a bench called the Bench of Awesomeness, which I like. So not a lover's bench, but a bench of awesomeness, which we sit on, and we look over into this view. So this is this first poem is trying to capture a little of me standing in this place where a lover's seat is falling into the sea. So I'll get rid of that, and you can have a look at my features whilst I'm reading it. Here we go. Where a lover's seat has fallen into the sea, searching for a route to Fairlight Cove, we're warned off scaling the cliffs, waves washing away the clay, undercut soft stone despite defences. Africa once kissed Europe, and these distant rocks were moved. Now the glen can't keep pace with the moon's pull on the channel, as rainwater and salt compete to reshape the coast. The view from the path will have to suffice. Fossils and dinosaur footprints will have to lay undiscovered until another day. Well, that's the first one. Wasn't too bad, was it? So I'm going to do about 45 minutes. I'll do as many as I can. There's 120 pages in here, so I'll probably get through about 15. So there's plenty there. I'm not going to do the good ones. I'm going to leave you for, to read them when you buy them. I'll just do some I like. There's lots of there was actually discovered dinosaur footprints, iguanodon or something, I think it was, in that on the beach where you're overlooking in that picture, and I think all along the coast there's lots of evidence of dinosaurs. As you see there, Johnny spotted some over towards Brighton. Just get rid of that. There we go. Right. So now what's my second one? Oh, yes. One of the best places along here is the Rye Harbour Nature Reserve. And I don't think you've ever been, but it is absolutely fantastic. And they've got hundreds of different types of birds. And I love it. I love it to bits. I often go bird spotting. I've got some binoculars. I'll show you my binoculars. Sorry about this slight delay. There we go. There's me bird spotting on the beach. So I do like to do that. I like most birds, but I've got to say that I'm not so keen, to be honest with you, with the seagulls. That's not my favourite. They're what I don't like is they keep shitting on my head. So I've written a little poem based on my knowledge of birds from Rye Harbour called Bird Spotting. Sick of seagulls shitting on your head? Ever considered shitting on theirs instead? Changing ends with our feathered friends, doing a Richard III on that guilty bird. Guano is a no-no, so quid pro quo, let go on any criminal crow. Cover a guillemot with whatnot. Go bobbing on a robin. Go muck a duck. Teach each turn, our tables turn. On solids, do solids. If I leave enough pause, you might be able to guess the end as we go. But foul a fowl, on owls, open your bowels. Gaff on a chiff-chaff, just for a laugh. Poop on a coot, just for the hoot. Stick stuff on a chuff till it's had enough. Soil egrets with no regrets. Plop on a pigeon a smidgen, shit on a tit, see how they like it. Commit craven acts on ravens' backs. If you've got dire diarrhea, plan it so again it's near. Release on Canada geese, unpack your pants on cormorants, spray a jay and make your day. We're halfway there. Spread shite on a red kite, present a pheasant with something unpleasant. Strain over a crane. Open your back door over a jackdaw. Particularly pleased with that line, to be honest with you. Leave a trail on a wagtail, serve a woodpecker a double-decker. Stick one in the eye of a magpie, why not try tomorrow and cry, there's one for sorrow. uncork on a stalk, defecate on a kittiwake, mark a skylark, curl a poo over a curlew. Do a number 2 on each cuckoo. Let's make it fitting in Britain to say you've shitten on a bitten. But when all's said and done, though retribution can be fun, never shit upon a swan. It is both illegal and disgusting, and the sole privilege of His Majesty the King. Thank you. Do you know that when I wrote that, that was the best hour of my life. I got a book of bird names and a rhyming dictionary, and I was no trouble to anybody for a good hour. That was a lovely little thing for me to do. Right, March. That's the next one, page 37. If you've already bought the book, you can turn to page 30. I've got to say, it only came out a couple of days ago, so well done the postman, if you've got one. So this I wrote last March. Obviously, it's March now. I was hoping it'd get a bit warmer in March, but it's not, has it? In fact, it's going to be snowing next week, so that's going to be even worse. So March last year, if you remember March last year, of course, you know, there was lots of things going off in the news. And very often when I write landscapes, it's both about the external landscape and the internal landscape. And this is a good example of that. March. Got a little picture to show you. Here we go. Along the coast where you've just been looking, I don't know whether you noticed, there's lots of gorse, not gauze as I kept calling it, but gorse. There we go, which is rather pretty. It's a sort of wild bush thing, and there's lots and lots of it. So this was out. It's out now, and it was out in March last year. So I make reference to that. I'll just get rid of that. And where I am on the on the Fire Hills, there's a radar station. So it makes reference to that. Here we go, March. The road east is blocked, so we head for the hills. Beyond the battery to where soldiers once held target practice. The radar antennae turns constantly. The coast is being guarded. A small sign captures my attention. Emergency vehicles. Behind barbed wire, the backs of sheep seem to bear bullet marks. Mist muddies all edges. Only the cows are black and white. I read the names of the dead on each of the benches. The yellow petals from gorse are said to cure art problems. Trees reach out towards tomorrow's dawn. Today, these flowers against a blue sky suggest the flag of the Ukraine. So, yeah, it's interesting places. So it's called the Fire Hills. It's actually called the Fire Hills because this where I live is Battery Lane. And there was during the Napoleon times, there was a battery of soldiers here, and they would go over to the hills and fire, fire practice. That's great. Now, I didn't think that when I first saw this place. I thought it was for a different reason. So I was off at Rye Harbour, and I looked back over here. So Rye Harbour's east. So I looked back, and the sun was going down, and this is what I saw. I'll just show you this. A lovely picture. So this is looking over from Rye Harbour Nature Reserve, and you see the hill with the red behind it. That's where I live. That's the Fire Hills, and I thought it was called the Fire Hills because it looks like it's on fire. And that's what drew me. I think my explanation is better than the real one. And that drew me. I thought it's a great name for a book and a great name, and it fired me imagine. So that's how I got started on writing this collection. Yeah, it's a lovely picture, that, isn't it? Very, very bleak around here at times, especially in winter. So sunken forest. We have a sunken forest on the local beach, Pet Level Beach. We have a sunken forest. So it's about 5,500 years old, this forest. And so some of these poems are about sort of me exploring the local landscape, and some aren't. Some are just things that have happened to me throughout the year. But I thought I'll start off with a few about the local landscape. So this is a sunken forest. I'm hoping this will come up. Yeah, there we go. So as you walk along the beach, this is at low tide. As you walk along the beach, you've got all these stumps, and they're all wood, and sometimes they break off and go around. And it was massive forest at one point. And the water level dropped 100 feet. So there's obviously a cliff right next to this, I'll show you the cliff. Here we go. The water level dropped, and this was during human habitation. So the first cavemen would have seen this and seen it happening. Coming up, yeah, there we go. So as you can see, the cliff there, that's the cliff that starts. That's basically the Fire Hills. There's everything beyond the cliff, and this is Pet Level Beach. It's quite an interesting beach. They filmed Alice in Wonderland in the 1960s on this beach with John Gielgud playing the mock turtle. So it's quite interesting as you explore places. You find all these interesting facts about it. I mean, you can just look at the sea and enjoy the sea if you want. But this is called the Sunken Forest, and you've got to remember this was December that I came to this place, and we're just coming out of COVID. So I was thinking about the idea of re-emergence. So this is called the Sunken Forest. In a time before humans could write, ere they peered out from their caves onto the tops of trees. Then the mere movement of liquid slowly wore away this raised sandstone, flooding the woodland below. As fresh water turned to saline, oak, birch and hazel bore their last leaves. Now, at the lowest tide, when storms have stirred the sediment, if you spy beyond the shingle, in amongst the rock pools, ancient roots and saplings seek out the sky once more. I do love living by the coast. It's one of the, I lived in Brighton for a while, and I basically just moved along a bit, get a bit more elbow room, basically. Less people live in this bit. I've written a little poem about living by the sea. What I like most is swimming in the oceans, but along the English coast, I'm just going through the motions. So you'll probably realise that's the second poo poem I've done so far. The actual poo content of the book is less than Southern Water. I can assure you that. So the next one is, now it says on the signs as you go into Hastings, home of television. So obviously, having worked in television for over 30 years, I thought it's a slight ironic, me coming and retiring in the home of television. And I read up a little bit about it because John Logie Beard basically lived here, and I understand how he got the idea for television. I'll show you. So he used to walk along the cliffs at the Fire Hills just where I showed you that picture early on. So this is looking down rather than across, and you'll see the lines. You'll see the lines. Now, television is basically waves. I mean, it's digital now because we've gone to digital, but originally it was waves. And John Logie Beard must have looked down and seen these lines. And strangely enough, the reason I took this photo is the lines don't really move. I mean, obviously the water's all moving, but the lines seem to stay fairly static. And I don't know whether that caught his eye, but he invented television. Now, there's two systems to television. An American also came up with a system after John Logie Beard, which is actually the one we use today. And it's he had the idea by looking at wheat fields and the wind blowing through the wheat, and obviously it does this like wave effect. So it's quite poetic, I thought. Something rather nice about that. Now, the poem is called, if I get it, page 45, poem is called Stooky Bill at the Cove. Now, I wonder if you know who Stooky Bill is. Well, Stooky Bill was the first person or the first face ever on television. And there's something quite ironic about this, as you'll see from the poem. And I'll show you a picture of Stooky Bill after we've read the poem. Stooky Bill at the Cove. There are channels in the channel today, swimming lanes or scratches on the surface, which never approach the shore as waves would. Even though the water is constantly moving, they seem to remain static, whilst eye clouds hurry across the eye weald. I saw a documentary recently which said John Logie Beard invented television whilst walking these cliffs. The heat from the light was so hot, no human face could withstand it, and the image presented so blurred, exaggerated features were needed. Therefore, the first face on camera was that of a ventriloquist dummy. Having recently retired from the media, I find my voice along this unspoilt coast with lines found in nature. I'll show you a picture of Stooky Bill. It's only a small picture, so I'm hoping it won't be too blurred. Let's have a little look. I got this off the internet, so all the others are my photos, but this one's off the internet. If you peer closely, you'll see that's John Logie Beard with Stooky Bill. I think in Greek Street. I think he actually transmitted from his bedroom to his living room in Greek Street. Is where the first television pictures were sent. There we go. So you learn something when you listen to me, don't you? You'll be going away going, that's taught me a lesson. So what do we got now? Oh, yes, the height of winter. I best have a check on time, make sure we're doing all right. I have. I've got my phone. 27. We're not doing too bad. So we're going to do about 45, so we're about halfway through. Right, so the height of winter, page 75. Here we go, page 75. So this is it's about pet level, which is our local one. And the other thing that happened on pet level is that it's where they filmed Ashes to Ashes, the video, David Bowie, which was 1980. I should have asked you if you knew the year, didn't I? And that would have fooled you. Which I always think, so that's only a few years ago. 42 years ago. 42 years ago, Ashes to Ashes. Bloody hell. So here's a picture of me, Ange and Johnny. on Pet Level Beach. And as you can see, Ange slightly resembles David Bowie in his clown costume there. And I think that's what you were going for. There's usually a digger behind David Bowie. The digger is actually somewhere on the beach. One of these days we'll have a little picture in front of it. It's a lovely beach, and I think I showed you a picture of it earlier. Let's have that back up. And there's never anybody on it, which is lovely for Johnny, because he can take his headphones off and walk along. So this is, we arrived at the height of winter. So this is a little poem about that, the height of winter. The sky upstages the sea as the sun exits stage right. It's too cold to stand, so we promenade. First east, our backs to the drama. Unfortunate as this is, it's necessary to then allow us to turn and take in the glory. Candlelight peach merging into cobalt. It's the scale of such beauty that lifts the air from your body. Even on this shortest day, the steady spin of the world overwhelms. So very often what I'm trying to do with these things is not necessarily be factually accurate, but try and get the emotion of the moment. So let's have a see what shall we go to next. This is page 86. Page 86. So I mean, it has been cold recently. I don't know whether it's. I expect it's cold where you are. I know. Eva's over in Belgium's watching in. I expect it's even cold over in Belgium. I'm sure it will be. Certainly, if you're like too cold for this chap here, I don't know what he's thinking of. You'd probably need a gun round here if you're going to be dressing like that. Is what I'd say. Me personally, I've always preferred a cardigan. Is the thing. I mean, even as you'll see here, from a very early age, a nice woolly cardie can save you a lot. That's my sister Lynn. She's still looking after me, which is nice. So I find this. I mean, I'm 66 now, right? So I'm just a pensioner. Just managed to live fast enough so they couldn't put it up, and they've finally given me my pension. And they this to me is the biggest. And I've lived through the 3-day week. Seems to be the biggest hike in the cost of living that I've ever seen. And I think people are suffering. When I was a kid and you didn't have to worry about bills, you go to the front door and you might get a birthday card or, a Christmas card or a letter from a pen friend or something like that. But now I avoid the front door. It's a poem about that. It's called Where Once the Post Brought Promise. Fear has found a hole. It's oozing through the door. It conceals itself in envelopes and preys upon the poor. Fear thrives in black and white, but too soon it turns to blood. It's there when you close your eyes, where hope itself once stood. Fear tempers tears to ice. It lays bare every room. It chills the unborn child in debt within the womb. Fear seeps through the kitchen. It empties out the shelves. Fear breeds in the bathroom, where reflections arm themselves. Fear pervades your pillow, invades your breakfast bowl. Fear is there within your dreams. Fear has found a hole. So, yeah, I don't know what there is to be done about it, to be honest with you, but We just have to get on, don't we? This next poem may shock you. Page 102. It's called I Prefer the Daily Mail. I prefer the Daily Mail of all the news sheets now on sale for wiping doggy doo off my shitty shoe. Close here. I was walking a line there, and I've managed to stay the right side of it. Nice bit of alliteration there. Doggy doo, shitty shoe. I know it's a little poo quartet, but you know, it's crafted. It's shite, but crafted shite is the thing. That's what you get with me. So there's something for everybody in this book. As you can see, there's the the profound, the profundity, and a profundity. Little play on words, you see. I like a little play on words. Right, raising your heart above the parapet, page 85. Let's have a look, page 85. So I was thinking about the news. I find the news very depressing, and I was just watching the news tonight. It is incredibly depressing. It makes you wonder why you go out. What I love about gigging is that I get to meet people in a setting where people bring out the best, and I love that. And we have a little celebration, and we have some fun. And it strikes me that when it comes down to it, beyond nature, we've only got us each other. And I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older, but there's something lovely about connecting with other people. So this is raising your heart above the parapet. So here we are again, looking for something to believe in. Let down even before we drew breath. We'll be further disappointed when we exit this earth. Misplaced belief has beaten me into fatigue. But a world without belief seems far too bleak. Maybe defiance will make the break. A simple leap of faith. The alchemy of optimism braved. That's all I have to hold on to. So I will believe in you. I will believe in you. And if you believe in me, we'll see. So I do like meeting people. I tell you what, though, we did a book launch up in Manchester. Paul will remember this, for one of the books, and I had this woman come to get a book signed, and this big queue. Oh, I say there's a big queue. There was a queue. I'm not going to exaggerate. There was a queue, and she came, and I said, "What would you like me to sign it?" And she said, "I would like you to sign. That would be fine." I thought, "Oh, all right." So I said, "Yeah, what name would you like me to put?" She said, "Would you put the name Sue? That would be a lovely thing to do." And I cottoned on to what was happening here. So I said, "You like talking in rhyme, do you?" And she says, "I do like talking in rhyme all of the time." So I signed a book, and she went, and there was in the queue there was a young couple, and I sort of gave them the eye, and they gave me the book, and I said, "That was a bit weird, wasn't it?" And they said, "She's still behind you." Oh, And anyway, so I signed the books, and I'm doing the queue, and I could see that she's gone round and she's gone to the back of the queue again. So as I'm signing the books, I can see that she's getting nearer and nearer, and I'm wondering what I'm going to do when I get, because I can't be going through a conversation. So as she drew near, when I did the last book, I went, I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. I'm going to have to fuck off. So anyway, that got me out of it, and she seemed fine with that. So that was good. Rusty giants surround us. So the lovely thing about here, I don't know whether you get out to the coast much, but the skies seem so much bigger, and I don't know quite why this. It may be that obviously you've got the sea. So that's one thing. If you look at the bottom of the picture, you'll see the scale of this. You'll see a bench, and you'll see how big these are. So these clouds are massive, and so it's 360 degrees all the way around you. You've got these. What cavemen must have made of clouds? I don't know, but they freak me out. And I'm supposedly a sophisticated modern human, but they're massive. And I loved looking at these clouds and just being part of it. So this is called Rusty Giants Surround Us. It's page 21. Let's get page 21. There we go. Right, I'll take that off so you can see me. I don't want you getting disorientated. Here we go. Rusty giants surround us. The sky over Winchelsea Beach is twinned with raspberry candy floss. There's a showroom of cloud types at all points of the compass. The sun free falls over Fairlight, throwing tangerine and salmon east. Shrubs and pebbles provide a skirting board, but it's the cotton chandeliers that elevate the heart. Even the steel blue of the sea softens to rosewood and coral. Light tricks through the faces of gods. The moment is too big for memory. Two eyes, no matter how open wide, are not enough to contain this. That's quite a nice one, isn't it? So 46 against the grain. So right next to, so there's Pet Level, Winchelsea, Rye, and then there's Camber Sands. And as you're looking over to Camber Sands, there's a lot of sand there. I don't know if you've ever been to Camber Sands. It's massive, more than Skeggy. It's quite weird, except on the day we went, strangely enough. So this is against the grain. On our trip to see Camber Sands, the tide had other plans. Usually there's tons, but today it's Camber Sons. It's French, means without, for those Sons knowledge. So lots of little ditties and poems of all different shapes and sizes. Some concrete poems where the shape of the poem matters. They're not so good to read out. They're better to read on the page. But I love playing around with all those sort of things. Nature in CinemaScope. Let's have a little look here. So I love the bird eyes on at Rye Harbour. Here we go. Let's see if you can see that one. Can you see that one? Yeah, there we go. So this is me and Johnny. He's not too happy because I've got the binoculars, but he'll be happy in a minute. So we're looking out there, and you'll notice that the windows in these things are they're not too high, but they're very, very wide. So this next poem is called Nature in CinemaScope, because it reminds me of you're looking at stuff in CinemaScope, if you remember that. Not sure they do it anymore. So the poem itself I've written in CinemaScope, so the lines are long. So it's a bit of fun I have sometimes on the page. To give you an idea of the actual view that I'm looking at through my binoculars. So give you that. Here we go. I love the anticipation when I don't know if it's coming up. There you go. Now that's rather beautiful, isn't it? The lovely thing about when you're there is you don't want to be anywhere else. You can stay there for ages. And if you look right in the background, that little bump, that's where I live. And sometimes there's a nice little light over there, or it's on fire. And it's quite nice to be able to see your house from a distance. It's sort of gives you a perspective on it. It's where you live, but it's from a different angle. I quite like that, life from a different angle. I'm going to show you another sky, because there's so many lovely skies that you catch around here. It's nice having this facility, because you can't. I won't be doing this at gigs, so this is like a one-off exclusive for you today. So that's rather beautiful, isn't it? It's getting on towards the twilight, and so I sit there for hours. Me and Johnny and Ange. Obviously, Ange was taking the photo. That's why you didn't see her. So this is called Nature in CinemaScope. It's worth the walk for the quiet alone. I say quiet. The birds themselves have plenty to say. Market traders, racetrack bookies, dog owners bickering. Ripples on the lagoon suggest more wind than can be detected. The late afternoon sun is filtered through unpainted clouds. These small islands host oyster catchers, avocets, and today a snipe. In the far distance, our own is blessed with its own nightlight, as if for a child still coming to terms with the dark. The hide itself is basic, a wooden hut with open slats, a bench and a shelf, everything you need. So one of the reasons why we moved over here was to get a bit more room for Johnny. And those of you who follow me regularly will know that Johnny's about 6'3" now, and although he's severely autistic, he has a great time, and he loves going on the swing. But you need a hell of a swing. If you're 6'3", you need a good solid bit of wood. You need a good oak tree to hang it from. So that's the one in our garden that he swings from. And it's lovely that he can have some time doing that. So this next poem is called "A Limb That Can Support Your Weight." That's page 22. I do love a nice tree. I've got to say, I'm very fond of trees. I went into MFS warehouse, furniture warehouse, and I cried because it was such shit furniture. And if you're going to chop down a tree, make something decent. Called "A Limb That Can Support Your Weight." Majestic is a word made for big trees. Hanging a swing is always an act of faith. Sturdy is the quality to look for in a bough. My son likes to sway the seat sideways, rocking the landscape. Swings don't come with instructions, only tradition, a knowledge of what others have done before. Standing on a swing seat requires balance and a certain amount of bravery, though it puts you in a better landing position if something should snap. None of this is of concern today. Johnny is a metronome to a tempo of his own choosing. He does all the covers for my books, as many of you will know. That's one of Johnny's. Obviously, you don't do them individually. That's a photograph. That would be slave labour if you did them individually. But this is about it's about 4 or 5 foot. I can't make the books 4 or 5 foot to do it justice. You won't be able to carry them in your pocket. But I do love all my books from Flapjack Press. I've got Johnny's paintings on the covers, and it's nice that they can get around the country and people can enjoy them. Right, how long have we got? We're about done. I think I'll just do one more to finish, if that's okay. So this is it's called Better Days, on page 15. And I was thinking about, actually, some of you know I broke my arm this last year, so I wasn't able to do anything for a couple of months. I broke it at the top, and it was very painful. I fell off a ladder, basically. I know, what am I doing up a ladder? Idiot, but there you go. And I wrote this during that period, but I've been thinking about it for some time. And sometimes you need something to happen to help solidify the thought process. Ever since I can remember, I look back. So even when I'm with people, my mind will be going back, and I'll be thinking about things that I did wrong, and thinking what I should have done right, and how I could have been better, and how I could be better now. And I'm looking forward all the time, trying to edge off problems. And I not really spent that much time in the present, enjoying the self. And I think it was Johnny that taught me to do that, because as those of you with kids will know, you can't, when you're with kids, you have to be in the present. And the present's where the fun is. So, it's quite a gift, actually, to draw somebody into the present. So I'll leave you with this last poem. Hopefully you'll pop and see me at some point as I'm around the country. I'm doing gigs. If you follow me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I do post a lot of stuff up there. It'd been lovely if you've enjoyed today. If you could drop me a line or something. Maybe there was a poem you liked, or maybe you've got some criticism and tips to make things better. I don't mind those. So it'd be lovely to hear from you anyway. So this is called Better Days. Midwinter, we yearn for spring. Midnight, we look to the dawn. We hope for better days. We make plans for when we are stronger, when infection has passed, when the fracture has healed. We ready ourselves for the longest of roads. We study to stand in good stead. We strive so at some stage we can rest. Yet, even on the sunniest day, we prepare for the coming storm. We bide our time. We watch our step. We correct our course. We pray for someone or something to take us somewhere better. We spend our whole lives watching for better days. And when we look back, there they were. We are the someone we prayed for. We are the something. This is a somewhere better. These are the better days. These are the better days.